Hello and welcome to the Mental Health Gaming Podcast. We're not going to talk about the numbers anymore because I just forget them. Welcome to the Mental Health Gaming Podcast. Once again, I'm Bradley, and fresh from his interview with Oprah, Stu. How you doing, Stu?
Not too bad, not too bad. Managing to stay non-racist, as I have done for, very many decades. I find it comparatively easy next to the royal family. So, yes. Quite happy with that.
Like, before we go anywhere, right, this whole interview thing, there's loads, I haven't watched it, and I've got a lot on hearsay and stuff like that, but one of the clips I did here that really made me laugh was when they spoke about a member of the royal family mentioned about what colour skin or how dark will the skin be of their baby, but within the media, within all the talk shows that I listened to yesterday and stuff like that. So we're recording on the Tuesday, so this was on the Monday in the UK. But listening to all the talk shows and the responses going, they should have named who the royal was. If they're going to make these accusations, they should name who the royal was. Am I the only one who was sat there going, do they need to name it? Do they need to name who the person was? We all know it's Philip.
Well, precisely. No, same in our household. It was just like, I wonder who that could be.
But it was just like they should name it. It could be anyone. Could it? Could it really be anyone?
Yeah, I know. The thing is, right, he's the only one who would say it, but I wouldn't be surprised, and in fact, I'm pretty sure that all of them feel it. Do you know what I mean? Well, not all of them, but most of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd go down to sort of like, if you go down to like the kids, like William's age and below, they probably don't think that because, they're modern people. But yeah, it was just like, they're honestly debating this as if to go, they should name the person. Well, no, because you said the person who is should then get a chance to respond. The person who is can't respond. Is that dark? Is that too dark?
Well...
No, he'd be thinking it, wouldn't he? It's in the spirit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, right. So here's the thing, right? You're hearing people getting angry. I know I don't care about it, but I'm going to ring up paid phone calls and tell people I don't care. So I don't particularly care for the royals. Don't particularly care about Meghan and Harry. I respect what Harry and even William do for the mental health charities. I mean, the revelation apparently came out about how the royal doctors wouldn't treat Meghan for her mental health issues is shocking if true and stuff like that. But I do respect Meghan and Harry for the mental health work that they do. But boy, there's a lot of people getting angry about them because they didn't want the life that being a royal gives them. And then angry they sold their story. But if you didn't keep buying the papers and fueling it, no one would want to sell their story. So it's your own fault.
Yeah, it's very odd. The whole situation with royals is so weird, but yeah, there you go.
So from a Game of Thrones, see what I did there?
Oh, nice.
Because of the royalty. What about actual video games, Stu? Because again, I have to live them vicariously through you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And all the ones I play are top tier, of course. So, yeah, definitely great. But I've actually played a few this week, and yeah, pretty good overall average. So still Natsuki Chronicles, but I won't go on about that because we talked about it last week. That's the shoot 'em up. Mm-hmm. Oh, one thing I did want to say is that the preferred nomenclature for shooting games these days seems to be STG. Now, I've got a problem with this on several levels, right? So A, they're called shmups or shooters, right? There's no need to change it. B, 3 syllables, you might as well say shooting game.
Yes.
If you're going to say STG. It's not an abbreviation.
Also, I had an STG once.
And that was going to be my other point, is that it sounds far too much like STD. Now, I know, okay, caveat, they're supposed to be called STIs, but who calls them STIs? Everyone calls them STD.
An STI is a car. Golf make it, don't they, or something?
There you go. Yeah, it's a fuel-injected sexually transmitted disease. So
that's what they get when they get with... No. Not going that road.
No, best not. So, yeah, it fails on every level. So call it a shmup, 1 syllable. Call it a shooter, 2 syllables. STG, pointless. But Natsuki Chronicles,
shoot
great.
'em up. I've always called them a shoot 'em up. I've never really... because I struggle with shmup, I have to think about it. I've always called a shoot 'em up.
No, well, that's fine.
So what does STG stand for?
Shooting game. So presumably they're going shoe-ting game. Honestly, it's disgraceful, isn't it?
Who came up with that?
Kids today. Children. That's who came up with it. Little idiots. So, yeah, no. But Natsuki Chronicles is great.
Right. So, Lucas is banned from his Xbox for 24 hours. There you go. On behalf of all adults, for all children, Lucas is now banned from his Xbox for 24 hours.
That sounds fair.
He doesn't even play shoot 'em up, so there you go.
Poor kid, honestly. Isn't it bad enough living with you that he has to put up with these punitive measures? Disgraceful.
Well, seeing as he's been my nurse for the past 2 weeks, yeah.
I feel so sorry for that kid. Anyway, so Natsuki Chronicles, great, but not the primary ones I've been playing. I've been playing Dragon Quest 11, I think it is 11. I've never been great with Roman numerals, and also 8.
XI?
Can't be arsed. Yeah.
Yeah, 11.
So, yeah, thought it was.
I know that because of football.
Yeah, but so yeah, that's not too bad. I've been playing that on my little handheld, the GPD device, and it's Game Pass, so it's quote unquote free. I wouldn't have picked it up otherwise. It generally wouldn't have been my kind of thing, but it's pleasant enough. They've obviously gone for a kind of Breath of the Wild look. It's very cel shady. It's very colourful. It's very cartoonish, fun, and it's all right. I mean, it doesn't do anything particularly special. I've only played it for about an hour and a half, but wandering around villages and leveling up, and yeah, it's okay. It's a time waster and very pretty and charming to look at. So from that perspective, can't complain.
Yeah, I've never got on with the Dragon Quest games. I don't think I've ever given them a fair shot either.
Right.
So there's not really much I can say. It's one I've always gone, do you know what? I fancy giving it a go, but I also know there's a time investment to it that I just don't have at the moment. So maybe when I'm into my 50s, 60s, 70s or whatever, and I can see again and I'm retired or whatever, then I might sit down and play one.
Yeah, I think they are kind of for people who are old before their time. It's like if you like wearing rugs over your lap when you're sitting down and you've got your slippers on and a rocking chair, they're very much that kind of a game. It's really strange. It's kind of like when RPGs starting to become really popular in the West in the mid-90s, then it was like, oh yeah, they're really out there, this whole genre that we've never really experienced properly, and oh wow, well they do all these things really cleverly, and then you sat down to play them and they got traditional so quick, not just in the way that they played, but in their storytelling, in the way that they tell. It's like picture book kind of childlike, very straightforward. That's what I feel, especially about Dragon Quest.
So I think there is a difference in the way people in the West consume single-player games compared to those in Japan. In the West, you play an RPG and it's a very solo experience. You play it at home or on your handheld on your own. Whereas in Japan, I think they still play those games, but they play them they'll play them in groups. So obviously they play them on the train to work as adults and stuff like that. But I think they will honestly sit around all playing like Dragon Quest 6, for example, on a Game Boy. Apologies if that's the wrong game for the wrong system, but whatever. All playing Dragon Quest 6 and stuff like. And I think they chat about it as they're playing it, going, oh, I'm here and I'm doing this, and where are you? And they chat normally while they're playing, and they make it a very sociable experience. Whereas I don't think we do that in the West. So that's why I think sort of like the RPGs, whereas you look at it and go, oh my God, it's a 200-hour game. Where am I going to find the time? Japanese kids, I think they'd go, yeah, we'll find the time because we'll play it in a lunch break, or we'll go down the park or whatever, and we'll play it there while still chatting and things like that. So yeah, it's no wonder games like that I think are still very, very popular and always have been over there, and have not struggled in the West, but struggle to be enjoyed in the same way that they are in Japan, and are very niche over here still.
Right, yeah. I'd never heard of that before, but it does make sense, and it would certainly explain how things sort of branched off into the Pokemon phenomenon, where that's entirely about talking to your friends about where you are, and then literally swapping characters and stuff. I don't know if they even still do that, but they, back on the Game Boy they did. So
yeah, no, you still do that. But right. I mean, again, over here in the West, unless someone tells you specifically, no, this is a social game, we go, oh no. I'll play that on my own, thank you, or I'll stream it. One of the two.
Well, yeah, but also, even if you wanted to share it, if you went, oh god, I've got this excellent new game, come and look, and people would just be like, nah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So, anyway, seems to be alright. I don't know if I'll go all the way through it, but it's definitely one that I wanted to play, because then also you can, when people go, have you ever played a Dragon Quest game? You go, yeah, I have.
You can pop your glasses up and go, yeah, I have played a Dragon Quest game, thank you very much.
Precisely.
I didn't think much of it.
On the note of, like, gaming snobbery, I've got all this stuff, and, like, you know, obviously, like you, got decades of experience and played all sorts of genres, and if anyone mentions a game, you can go, yeah, I've played that. But how often do you actually get to, like, show off how much you've played? And it's like you're there desperately waiting for somebody to ask you a question about, you know, oh, have you played such and such, and you just never get that question. And it's kind of like you have to kind of preempt it and boast. So
no, it's the only other people who will know about that sort of stuff and might ask it are people in your circle who would have played all that stuff anyway. And it's just, do you remember this? And, oh, yeah, I played that. Yeah, so did I. The chance you're waiting for is someone to go, I came across it and go, yeah, I've played that in 1994 on its original hardware. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly.
And they go, oh, did you? Wow, really? That never happens. And no one ever looks and goes, oh my God, you played it on the original. Wow. It's not like going, oh yes, I went to see Citizen Kane in the cinema upon its original release. And like, wow, that must have been an experience. It's not the same.
No. It's really funny because I don't feel like that very often. I don't really want to boast. I would like the opportunity to show off my knowledge as any human being would, but you know,
Mastermind.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But yeah, no, it's like when you were a teenager and you like whatever you were into, it's like often it was music, and like you would deliberately do stuff that made you as pretentious and knowledgeable in inverted commas as possible. And like, you know, a favourite one was like putting together a mix of bands that you didn't even have to like them, you just had to know them, and put like one of them and put a whole mix of their more obscure tracks on, and then people either have to sort of nod along and pretend that they know who it is, or they ask you and you can go, well, this is such and such a band, they were signed to such and such a label in 1984, and there was a lot of
I liked them before you knew them.
Yeah, exactly. And I went off them as soon as they became popular, which I actually did. I am very much I used to do that.
But talking of video game knowledge, I did go completely pretentious. We had the chase on last week. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, and a question came up, and he's gone like my alter ego, because people often confuse me with Bradley Walsh. Like honestly, all the time, I often get people go, "Oh, we got Bradley Walsh here." No, I'm not Bradley Walsh. I'm clearly not Bradley Walsh. And they go, "Oh yeah, it's because your names are similar." Well, it's not, is it really? But anyway, I was presenting the chase, and a question came up. Which of these companies has been around the longest? Microsoft, Nintendo, or Sony? And the contestants answered, and the chasers answered, and the contestants answered Sony. Brad's going along the lines of, oh yeah, you know, makes sense with the Walkman. Yeah, cool. Yeah, you know what? They've been around since from the 70s, maybe 80s, but yeah, definitely the earliest. You know, video games are later. And I'm sitting there going, it's Nintendo. They've been around since the 1800s. Yeah. They was a playing card company, I think you would find. And yeah, so it goes through, it's the answer. And I think it was Jenny Ryan who was doing it. And she's a big gamer herself anyway. And
right.
You could see her. She's literally gone, yes, no, it was Nintendo. And they've been around since the 19th century, originally making playing cards. Almost in that full pretentious way that I was doing as well. I was going, yes, me and you, Jenny Ryan, we know video games.
Awesome.
It's not often you get to, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's knowledge you can't buy.
Yeah. Well, you probably could, but
yeah, I don't even know what that phrase means. I've heard that phrase before, and I just went, it makes no sense. Of course, you can buy knowledge.
Yeah. And so back to the games.
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
No, it's all right. So been playing a bit of that. Yesterday, I played a game called Forgone, as in Foregone Conclusion, and that seems okay. Not spectacular. Seems all right.
What is it?
Well, it is a platform fighting game, so a platform action adventure style game with light RPG elements, and it's set in this post-apocalyptic future where you're this super being that was supposed to prevent the end of the world and didn't, kind of thing, like from a group of them. You know, it's a pretty oft-told kind of sci-fi story, and visually it's a bit strange. It's quite nice looking, but it's very much reminded me of like early 90s Amiga and Euro games in that style. It's kind of got like a heavy brush style of packed screen with tons of parallax scrolling, and it's hard to describe really, but yeah, it very much gave me that vibe. I'm not sure if the sprites are pre-rendered. They might be, which is one of my most hated things in the world. We'll have to have a discussion on that at some point. You probably end up just being pre-rendered sprites crap, but
gaming pet hates.
We should definitely do one of those. Yeah. But they look all right. A bit odd, but it's okay. Yeah, you have a melee weapon and a shooting weapon. In that style, it makes it play a little bit like, I'm not going to remember the name of it now. Say boasting about knowledge, and then mine goes completely blank. That's a good look, isn't it? The one on the
time.
Yeah, the one on the 360. Shadow something is like a Metroidvania.
Shadow
Complex, that's it.
It wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
It's quite simple, actually.
Yeah.
No, I love that game. That was really good.
Yes, it was, and it's not like that very much, really. It's just because you have a gun, and it will lock onto something. Like in Shadow Complex, it locked onto things in the background as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that here, but it locks onto stuff, which in a platform game is fairly unusual. So yeah, it's okay. It's not bad so far. I don't know if it's going to be brilliant. It may be suffering a little bit from me having played Dead Cells, which is like one of the best platform games I've played of the last 5 years. But yeah, it seems okay.
Cool. Do you remember RPG Lite? That seemed like that was a thing for a while when everything tried to put in RPG elements into games.
Yeah.
God, I'm dreading when that one comes back full circle.
I think that's possibly why I'm not that enamoured. Like, it's okay, but it's a little bit annoying because you're constantly getting like the sort of main. It's got like a full equipment roster, so you've got like armor, and you've got like accessories, and you've got 2 types of weapon. So the accessories are like split into clothing, rings, and necklaces, very much like Castlevania or other sort of platform RPG style stuff. And you're constantly having to dip into the menu to go, is that loot more powerful than what I've been using? Oh yeah, no, it's got a +2 DPS increase, but it hasn't got that special where it can cause poison. And you're in that loop then always of like dipping into the menu and knocking the flow back. And it works in some games and it doesn't in others. And for this one, I'm not far enough in to tell whether that balance is right. But at the moment, it's kind of like, it's acceptable, but please don't do it too much.
No, it's one of the things that were bad about Anthem, apparently. Not that matters anymore.
Oh, really? Oh, well, we can talk about Anthem in a second. But I have no idea how Anthem played other than, Destiny ripoff that people call it. So is that one of the problems? It was like constant loot management.
Yeah, from what I understand, and I didn't play it because I just went, this doesn't sound very good. I'm not paying money, but I watched streams of it, and it was a game all about meant to be like action. So like you could fly around the levels to get to places, and that looked really interesting. But you was often in battles, you'd be taken out the flow because you had to do things. It was like almost like 4 different menus you had to go through to equip items and check items and upgrade. It was just very stop-starty in that way. And I do believe they improved it at the time at one point. But yeah, no, it kind of killed the flow. You either do it that, do you know what you've got's fine for that run, and when you get back to your main base, that's when you'll sort it all. Or you can do very quick, I want this, it's on the fly changes. Diablo, and I want to talk about Diablo very briefly in a second, actually. Diablo, I thought, done it quite well. That it doesn't matter what you picked up, on the whole, you could get through that particular quest with what you went in with, and then go, right, next quest I'm going on, that's when I'm going to see what I've got, and you got your surprises at the end. But no, games that make you in and out of menus all the time, especially on action-y style games, no, that doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. To me, it feels as though some of the indie developers are trying to do a throwback thing.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, people love these games, so we'll go back and do it again. And there's a thing between, there's like a very fine line between stuff that people liked and therefore they kept bringing it forward, and stuff that has been improved as quality of life, and it's the developer understanding which it is. And I think that you could very easily do a looter thing where, yeah, give people that menu, but have the thing where you can just equip and use it immediately if you don't, if you set that up. So you can just say in the menu, oh yeah, no, I want new stuff equipped immediately.
Yeah.
And then you'd get to try out all the different things. And then you could have like a button that you tap to just, disengage that weapon and return to your previous one. And talking about it makes it sound counterintuitive and long-winded, but actually, in reality, it'd be dead simple, and it'd be like, no, don't want that. Oh god, that's got like a 2-second wind up. No, get out of it. Or you'd be like, whoa, this thing's amazing, and you'd stick with it. So yeah, quality of life.
Dead Cells, I think, got it right. With like, you jump out, you go to a new item that you found, and it pops up, going, this is what you've got. This is what we can give you. Do you want it?
Yeah.
Has it got more green than it has red? Yeah, I'll have that.
And as well, quite right, it also dropped the item that you previously had, but you could pick it back up if you wanted it.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I thought that done inventory management really well, because it didn't matter. Again, being a roguelite helps, because if you screw it up, you go back and you start again anyway. But yeah, no, that nailed it. But in and out of menus, blah. But talking right, so
Diablo,
yeah, because we're going to do a little bit of news, because I've been listening to a lot of gaming news as well. So I don't know if I obviously didn't mention this last week. I was meant to, but news came out about what's happening with the Diablo 2 remastered or remake edition. I can't remember what it's actually called. Reforged, re something. Anyway, I think they've tried to be clever with the titling. It's coming out on the Blizzard store, Battle.net, sorry, and on the Switch, which is good. And what's one thing I always ask for, Stu, when a game comes out on 2 different systems?
That you can have cross-save between the 2 of them.
Yes. Fair play to Activision. There's cross-save between the Switch version and the Battle.net version.
Excellent.
Now, I'm only going to pick it up on the Switch this time, ironically enough. But yes, and yes again. Well done, Activision. Bobby Kotick's still a knob, but well done, Activision. Blizzard, sorry.
It's something they well should have done a very long time ago, this sort of thing. It's I could say at least 10 years ago,
Yes.
This sort of thing should have become commonplace.
Yes, 100%. Absolutely brilliant. And so the death of Anthem as well. I know some people are quite upset about it, because there's like 5 people who still play it. Right, this is good news. For BioWare, for it to happen to BioWare is fine, because they're a big enough developer, they can suck it up, and they've got other IP. They can go back to Mass Effect, and no matter what people think of Mass Effect Andromeda, a new Mass Effect's gonna pique the interest of everyone. They've got Dragon Quest, and things like that. Now, the death of Anthem is a good thing, because I hopefully think that is the end of everyone trying to make their game a live service. Because BioWare have already said Dragon Age has now been changed. It is no longer going to be a live service game. It is going to be a full single-player experience based on the popularity and the success of Jedi Fallen Order, the Star Trek game. I love doing that. Just casually. Oh, it's brilliant. And yeah, so the death of Anthem, while sad for those who still enjoy it, and I feel for those people, it is a good thing for the industry. Because I'm hoping that, and obviously what happened to Marvel's Avengers, the backlash on that, I think we're seeing the end of the live service, every game being one.
Yes, yeah, I was going to mention that as well. The Marvel's Avengers is just killing it all off as well.
Everything's going to be a roguelike next.
A card battling roguelike.
Yeah. But no, it can only be a good thing, the end of the live service. Again, there's nothing wrong with a live service game. Fortnite, Fall Guys, bought by Epic, by the way, recently. Games like that, where it is an ongoing thing, I get it, it's fine. But not every game needs to be it. Marvel's Avengers should have been an amazing single-player experience with maybe dropping co-op or something like that at most. Something like what Borderlands did. That's what that game should have been at most. The Division, I think, again, another game that would work as a really cohesive single player, maybe co-op drop-in experience. But the live service stuff, it's got to end. It's got to end. I think at the performance of Marvel's Avengers, the now death of Anthem, I think we're seeing the tipping point on that now. Thank God.
Yeah, looks like it. So the Fall Guys have been bought out by Epic, have they?
They have, yes.
Right.
This is really weird for me because they've been bought by Epic. The game was originally published by Devolver Digital. Now, when I first heard the news, my immediate thought went, oh, Christ, no, please don't say you've bought Devolver Digital. They haven't. They've just bought Mediatonic.
Yeah.
So, Devolver Digital published the PlayStation 4 and Steam versions of Fall Guys. Epic have now bought it, but there's unsure of who's going to be publishing the Xbox One and Switch versions, and what that's going to actually mean. Because are they going to now make Fall Guys a free-to-play game where it's selling cosmetics a la Fortnite, which is fine because I think Fall Guys is the perfect game to do that. And do I buy it on the Switch? Or do I wait to see if it goes free to play? And who is actually publishing it? Are Devolver still going to publish that? Or are Epic going to publish that? Because Epic has spoke about it's going to be cross-play with all platforms. So that suggests you'll need an Epic account to sign in, as you do on Rocket League and as you do on Fortnite, to play across all platforms with cross-progression, all good stuff. But it'd be interesting to see who's publishing that, whether they've bought the absolute publishing rights from Devolver as well. So interesting to see what happens with that. I kind of fell off it a bit because it meant loading up a PlayStation 4 and I've got way too much to play on the PC to really bother with it. But on the Switch, I might dip in and out if it goes free to play. I'm not sure about buying it yet.
Yeah, so we talked about it, I think it was at the end of the year, at the end of... when was it? I can't remember. But yeah, we talked about it and you said that you hoped Devolver would keep hold of it, and that they themselves wouldn't get bought out. And I said I thought Fall Guys, I thought Devolver Digital were going to get bought out, but I certainly thought Fall Guys was going to get snapped up even quicker than it has done. I'm quite surprised it took so long, to be honest. But maybe Devolver were being, playing quite hardball with Epic along the way to get the price up. Do you have any idea how much it sold for?
Haven't got a clue. Not a clue. But I'm not really bothered about the money side of things, so I don't really pick up on that. And I'm only going to what I heard on other podcasts in terms of the news. And it just descended into throwing mud about Epic Games beyond that, which, I could agree with. They're a big corporate behemoth, but I get free games every week from them. And they're a rival to Steam, so we're in a market that allows them to do that. So be it. I'm glad they haven't got Devolver though, because that for me would be devastating to lose someone like Devolver to a media conglomerate.
Yeah, I'm rubbish with business. Again, to potential employers, I'm fantastic with business. But to you guys, just secretly, I'm rubbish with understanding business. And like whenever these things sell, I'm always like, oh, I wonder how much that was. It was probably like 50 million, and then it's like 17 billion or something. So I don't have any idea. And also, I thought that when Microsoft bought the Minecraft franchise, that they well overpaid for it. So that's how That's how stupid I am. So don't listen to me on any of this kind of stuff. Yeah,
you're about as what's that game? That guy who's meant to be like the financial, like understand all the financials and the insiders. He was on IGN for a bit. Michael something or other, I think. Michael Patcher. There you go. You're our Michael Patcher. Okay. He always got stuff wrong.
That'll be me then, definitely.
So, but yeah, you might be able to play Fall Guys. Like the 10 people who own a PlayStation 5 these days, they might be able to play Fall Guys on that at some point as well, I'd imagine.
Ooh. Unlocking the full power of the PS5.
Yes. Well, from what I've been hearing, again, just hearing lots of stories hearing lots of stories of late, but Microsoft have this solution for their limited storage. Obviously, you do buy a proprietary card. Do you know often like you hear about proprietary cards? And I've almost feel for Sony here. Sorry to go a bit off track. It's unlike me, I know. I feel a bit for Sony here because when they brought out their proprietary cards for the Vita, like the memory stick Duo, obviously that was used for other bits, and then they brought out the specific PlayStation Vita memory cards. And they was given all shit for it. It's like, that's why it failed. Should have used micro SD cards. Why using proprietary? So they've now gone sort of like M2. So they've future-proofed the PlayStation 5 with M2. But at the moment, you can only use specific M2 drives. Again, that will change in the future, and it's really fine. But because of that, you can't use an external hard drive for anything other than PlayStation 4 games on a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
So you can't download PlayStation 5 games to it at all. Now, on the Xbox, they've got proprietary hard drives that you have to plug in. Right, they're the only ones you can get. Apparently, they're only going to be made by Microsoft. I think that will change down the line, but as it stands, 100% proprietary. And they're expensive. But anyway, you can plug in a hard drive, and you can play your 360, your Xbox One games off of it. But what you can also do is you can download Xbox Series games to it. They will update if there's an update available via the hard drive, and then you can just shift them onto the internal drive when you want to play them. And apparently it takes like very little time, so it's like 10 times quicker than like downloaded or the way you used to move stuff about, where it's like, is it really worth it? So it's really quick. I was like, that's actually, and people go, yeah, do you know what? That's fair enough. Stick a 4 terabyte drive in there, store all the games on there, and just move it when I want to play it. And it's like they've got the proprietary drives and they're getting away with it. Whereas Sony must be sitting there going, are you kidding me? We did that with the PlayStation Vita, and we got all kinds of rubbish for that. So yeah, it's funny.
I don't know. I mean, whatever caused the failure of the PSP and the Vita. It wasn't the cards. I know that they didn't help, but because the PS2 had their memory cards, which were really tiny, had a tiny amount of storage, and they cost an absolute fortune. I think in today's money they were the equivalent of like 60 or 70 quid. They were really expensive, and you like got one and hung
8
on
megabytes.
to it. Yeah, and you could fill them with about 6 games. It was just ludicrous, and you hung on to them.
No one batted an eyelid about it.
No.
I used to go down the market, and you could buy a memory card with your Pro Evolution Soccer option file on it for about 15 quid. Game used to sell them as well. I don't think they sold them officially. No, Game Station, Game Never. But you go into Game Station, they'll be like, yeah, we sell the memory cards. 15 quid.
Yeah.
You can get a receipt. Don't go through the till, mate. It's like, okay.
Well, dodgy.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, the black market or the brown market or whatever was much more prevalent before all the internet stuff kicked off.
Oh, those were the days. Where Game Station bought obviously everything. It didn't matter what you took in games wise, they'd take it.
Yeah.
Wonder Swan, we'll take a Wonder Swan.
Don't know what it is, but we'll sell it.
Neo Geo Pocket Color, yeah. We got a few of those. It was just like, it was like the Del Boy of video game shops was Game Station.
Definitely.
But it was those were fun days. But Sony, you've just got to laugh at them sometimes.
Quite often, actually. Yeah, they no matter how far ahead they are, they always seem to like shoot themselves in the foot. Like that meme of, have you seen it, of the like somebody riding a bike and they stick a stick in their front wheel themselves?
Yes,
that's Sony. Yeah.
Yeah, they've not really. I mean, again, you can't fault Sony for what's happening with the PlayStation 5 to a degree because of the pandemic. So it's not their fault that numbers aren't out there as such. You feel that maybe they should have got together with Microsoft and just said together, look, should we just delay for a bit? And we'll both delay, come out at the same time, so it's as it was. So it's not really their fault that they can't keep up with numbers. But so they've not really got anything wrong as such with the PlayStation 5. They've done all the right things, but it somehow backfired on them.
I know, it's very strange. But
it seems to be like, apart from the PlayStation 1, if they've given their PlayStation an odd number, it's just it's going to go wrong.
Yeah, but we won't Yeah, we won't beat them over the head yet because we'll see how they do and then production numbers go up. But
they'll still make millions.
Yeah, exactly.
No, billions now, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Whenever I say millions, it's always billions. So yeah, trillions. I don't know. So yeah, I was going to talk about Dirt 5, but we've been rambling on for so long that I'll talk about it next week. So that's it for me.
Yeah, Dirt 5. I was really excited for that, but I've heard many bad things. So yeah, we'll look forward to that next week.
Okie dokie.
So before we move on, just want to talk about some bits we're just doing changes for moving forward. We want more interaction from you, whether that be comments, questions, whether it be about video games, mental health, your stories, your experience, whether you want to call us out on mistakes. Not that we ever make any, but should you want to call us out, that's fine. Any ideas you've got for us for the podcast, any stories you've heard, anything like that, we want you to contact us. So we've created an email address, and we'll be sure to stick that in any links or anything like that. And you can reach us on podcast@mentalhealthgaming.com. That's podcast@mentalhealthgaming.com. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but also, obviously, you can get the podcast via SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you can get it. But you can also get it by asking your smart speaker to play the MHG podcast, and it will play magically on your smart speaker. I found that out properly the other week. I think I remembered it from before, but I forgot anyway. But yeah, I listened to it. They're good. Give them a go. But you can do that. And finally, I know we've kind of not really sort of done much with it, but once I can see again, I am going to do stuff with the Patreon. So what I want to do is just give a shout out to our top tier Patreon producers that help keep this show going. So here we go. Thank you to... And that's it. Well done. That's our Patreon top tier producers. We haven't got any at the moment, but I'm going to restructure the Patreon again. We're going to try and bring in some more features. And one of them will be, we'll make sure to give anyone who's part of the top tier or the shout out tier, whatever we call it, it'll all be clear on there over the coming weeks. You will get a mention on the podcast or any other shows that we produce. But yeah, that's that. And on with the show. So, Stu, before I get going with my week that was, anything you would like to talk about?
Well, I've been thinking a lot about the end of lockdown, or its potential end, mainly kicked off by this government roadmap and the fact that the kids have gone back to school this week. As we said before, speaking on the Tuesday morning, and they went back yesterday, obviously. Mm-hmm. And, so the end of lockdown feels like it's in sight. And I do feel very differently about it than I did at the very first lockdown. Lockdown 2 was a joke, I think we can all, really agree on. But lockdown 1 was pretty strong, and, it did some good stuff, and it missed out on others. I think some lessons were learned that shouldn't have to have been, but, it's the government. And they were put better into place in lockdown 3 that we're still in. And at the end of lockdown 1, I was like, yeah, no, that was fine. I'm going to stick with the tougher measures, for quite a bit longer, to be honest. I'm going to be very safe and stay out of people's way and constantly be on my alert. And I think when we come out of this one, I'm going to feel a little bit safer. And this is even before I've had the jab. And I think it's because seeing how far the numbers have gone down, seeing how many people have actually been inoculated and had the vaccine, and the general feeling, really. But because of that, I'm now really antsy. I really want it to be now. I'm not preempting it by going out and doing reckless stuff, like driving too far or, going anywhere that I shouldn't. But inwardly, psychologically, I'm like, oh, God, yeah, no, we're nearly there. Oh, I really need this. I really need to get out. And yeah, no, it's felt like it's been piling up on me for the last, few weeks that I'm desperate again for my freedom. And it's, as I say, a long time to get to this state. It's like taking a year, basically. But now I'm champing at the bit, and I really want to have my vaccine so that I can, fret about it even less. But it's a funny phenomenon, and everybody has their different stages at which it becomes a bit too much for them to be in lockdown. And listening to, reading people's tweets and stuff, and watching people on social media's reactions, I think some people got there a lot sooner than I did. And you can flourish in lockdown to a certain degree if you're the sort of person who doesn't mind being restricted and isn't very gregarious anyway. And I really like people, and I like going out, and I'm very pleasant to people, and I like seeing my friends occasionally, but I'm not the kind of person who needs to be somewhere talking to people all the time. So I wouldn't be like in the pub every week with friends, but I would want to be like going to the cinema and being in a group of people and just feeling like part of society. So to be honest, I'm not sure where I'm going with it, but it just feels like it's about the right time now, especially personally. Not sure how you feel about it.
Yeah, I think because we're at now the 1 year point, almost exactly. I can't remember what the actual date was that the first lockdown
17th,
started.
I think.
Was it? Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
so we are coming up on the 1 year point, and I think that's quite significant in the way a lot of people are thinking, because 1 year is a long time. A few months is a long time when you consider how other countries have handled it and things like that. But 1 year feels like a definitive long time. It's like, wow, a year of our lives we are never going to get back. That we've just literally been stuck to do not much at all. And most people have broken the rule in some fashion, very minor. People have gone a bit further afield to go to a different park for a walk, that kind of thing. But yeah, no, a year now. I want to say no. I want to stay locked down until this is completely gone. But I've got friends that I don't really like going out too much. But I've got friends I haven't seen properly for a long time, and I miss them. And I want to be in their presence. I want to sit down and have a cup of coffee. I want to talk to people. I want to just be able to go and see my mum. Use the excuse. My mum was able to take me to the hospital the other week, and that was a good excuse to be able to see my mum. Even like my sister and my brother, we don't really see each other much, maybe once or twice a year as it is, because we're a close family and we'll be there for each other. We're not a close family. I want to see my sister. I want to see like my nieces and things like that. I want to see my brother. I want to see sort of like my other niece. Just even for a couple or to pop out. We done the odd social distance walk when you was allowed to back at some point last year in the summer. And that's passed now. I want to go and sit down in a coffee shop for a coffee and play the Switch. I want to... just a little bit of normality. And I was one who was quite happy for a bit with being, I'll sit indoors and play games or whatever, and I'll stay safe, just do the odd bit of shopping. But yeah, I'm done with it now. So to be fair to Boris Johnson, please don't clip that and use that any other time, okay? Whatever you do.
We'll see. Go
on. He's got a lot wrong. He has got a hell of a lot wrong. He's got most of it wrong. But the vaccine stuff, can't fault the government at the moment on this. Cannot fault them. Even with the not sharing it as much, can't really argue why they should be sharing it and not giving us as much. It's very hard to argue those points to a degree. It's another debate anyway. So I'm not going to fault them on the vaccine. And with this roadmap, he's been misquoted a lot on this roadmap, where people he said, this is going to be the last lockdown and we're never going back into lockdown based on this one because we're following the data. Right. What he actually said was, and this is to be fair to him, he hopes that if we follow this properly, this will be the last lockdown. There's a hope that if we do it properly, he hasn't guaranteed this is not going to be the last lockdown. But unfortunately, a lot of people have taken that straight away and go, right, we're into the home stretch. Fuck it, doesn't matter. We'll go and do what we want, which is the problem. This 21st of June, is it 21st of June? It is, isn't it? It's meant to be like the like the COVID Cup final day.
Yeah, I think so.
I've got a feeling we're going to overshoot that for a little bit. We know video games, Stu. You know, we've seen this. They've given us a date. It's going to get delayed. We know it's going to get delayed a little bit.
Kiss of death, yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's. I think that will slip, not drastically. I think it will go, oh, right, look, we're slightly behind because of this, because there's always road bumps. We know this. And yeah, I think it will slip slightly. And I'm just hoping people can remain patient, but I want it done now. As someone who's not a social butterfly, someone who does like being sort of on their own, I want that being on my own to be my choice, not because I have to at the moment.
Yes, yeah, precisely. There's a very delicate balance between carrot and stick, and I think the government have got... I don't want to kind of go off into a great big anti-government rant, so I'll try and be as balanced as I can. I think the government have done some learning and have got a little bit better at it. And I think the idea of carrot and stick is quite good, so it should be. Oh yeah, well, we're not there yet, but these are the measures, and if you behave and follow these measures, you know, then as a society we can do this. I'm not sure that they've quite got the balance right. I think there's a little bit too much carrot and not enough stick. And
it's like potty training a child. It's like, this is what the government learning is. They've gone from absolutely just shitting and pissing wherever they feel like to basically only doing it at night in bed.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think with the vaccine rollout, a lot of that is, you know, even a stop clock is right twice a day kind of thing. And I reserve 90% of the praise for the scientists, and then 9% more for the NHS. Let's say 99% for the scientists in the NHS.
Yeah, oh God, yes.
And I think that there's a lot of local authorities who've done very well, and there's very little that the government can take credit for. But anyway, all of that aside, yes, I do feel differently about it, and the vaccine has definitely helped. And on a very positive note, I think the way that that's been developed and the success rate of it has been so much quicker and better than I ever thought it would be. You know, it's exceeded my expectations by a factor of, you know, hundreds. I thought we'd be waiting years for there to be a really effective vaccine, and the first one we got would only be like 20 or 30% effective, maybe 40, and the rollout would be a lot slower, and the side effects would be a lot worse, and all sorts. You know, I just know it just based on my experience from developing vaccines in the past. You know, vaccines for stuff are not developed very often, and you know, especially not for COVID-based viruses.
No, but medical science is just, whatever you think of anything, medical science is the most amazing thing. I mean, we've been watching a lot of I've been listening to, but because I haven't got control, I've been listening to sort of like, do you know those Channel 5 style documentaries? So it's like Inside the Ambulance, 999, What's in the Air Ambulance, and 999, we're in the ER, and 999, we're answering your call, and we've been watching a lot of those, and like seeing some of the stuff that medical science has done. It's like you can get a spray that you can give someone under their tongue, I think it is, and what that will also allow them to do is open up their arteries temporarily to help delay possible heart attacks while they're on the way to the hospital. It's like,
wow,
fucking hell, what?
Amazing.
And there's another one, like the amount of day surgeries we have now that used to be people would have to stay in for like a week and stuff like that. They're able to like put people to sleep, cut them open, do whatever. As long as they come out of that anaesthetic okay, they can send them home that day. It's like, it's just, even my person, like the surgery I've had done on my eye, it's just, that's just amazing that they can do that.
It is.
So it doesn't surprise me that when their backs are against the wall and they had to produce a vaccine, they was able to do it as quick as what they did in the end. I was doubtful because of, you know, the way you do wonder whether governments would get in the way. But the scientists, the medical professionals, they deserve everything that's coming to them. Anything positive. Not a 1% pay rise, but that's for another day.
Yes. So all of that stuff has made me feel really good. And I think feeling good has made me champ at the bit even more for like wanting to start doing stuff. And you'll notice I'm not saying go back to normal, because I know that it won't be going back to normal.
I don't want to go back to normal still. That's the other thing.
Well, exactly. But the things I do want to do, I'd like to be able to have an opportunity to do them every now and again.
Yeah.
You know?
The best thing about all this now, though, the whole thing is, you shouldn't think bad of people and stuff like that. You should always think the best of people and all things like that. No, I disagree. I think it's always funny when arseholes get their comeuppance. But it's seeing anti-vaxxers do mental gymnastics and go almost have full autistic moments. They're going, I don't want the vaccine, but I want to go on holiday. I don't want the vaccine, but I want to go on holiday. I don't want the vaccine, but I want to go on holiday. I don't like Europe, but I want to go Spain. I don't want the vaccine, but I don't like Europe, and I want to go Spain. I want to go on holiday, but I don't want the vaccine. I want to go on holiday. I don't like Europe, but I want to go to Spain. And it's just brilliant watching them just melt down because they really don't know what to do.
Yeah, I know. They don't understand the irony of their actions. At least we can revel in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I go, but we don't get much. Yeah, you shouldn't think like that, but you're a leftist. You shouldn't think like, no. I get to think that because it's funny.
Totally. Oh, you can go. Or you can play both sides if you're a centrist or a liberal. But I am neither of those things. I'm I'm a socialist.
Yeah.
I believe in having rules. I believe in quite strong rules. And I think that you should point and laugh at people who've messed up their own lives out of some hideous, racist, xenophobic impulse that they had. So, let's point and laugh.
How can you say you follow these rules but not these rules? Because I'm a logical human being. These rules make sense. These rules are fucking stupid. That's how I can say that should work.
Exactly.
Don't listen to the government when it comes to Brexit, but listen to what the rules are when it comes to lockdown. Oh, that's not how it... Well, no, it is, because Brexit's stupid and they should never allow people to vote for that, and I can believe that. But I can also believe that we should listen to them when they say, don't leave your homes so people don't die.
Yeah.
You're doing the exact opposite. You're going, listen to them. Don't listen to the experts. Listen to the government when it comes to Brexit. But then you're turning around going, don't listen to them when it comes to safety. So, you're doing the exact same thing. It's just I can point and laugh at you.
Yep. That's precisely. So, that's all I wanted to say on it, really, that I'm just, desperate to, go to a coffee shop. I think the most is driving somewhere beautiful and having a good walk around because spring is coming and I'm desperate to do that, so can't wait.
The worst thing, our move to Liverpool's delayed now because of all this and the way that the housing, the rental market is. Everyone wants guarantors. You cannot find anywhere that does not want a guarantor at the moment, and they're asking for quite a lot of upfront rent even with a guarantor, so our move's off for a bit, which is gutting. So we're going to look for somewhere on the housing down in Chelmsford. But the good news is we're getting a Tim Hortons in Essex.
What's that?
Coffee shop.
Oh, right.
A Canadian coffee shop.
Very cool.
Tim Horton used to be a former ice hockey player. And he then started a coffee and bake shop in Canada, and it grew from there. Because of my connection to ice hockey, it's excellent. I want that.
There you go.
As soon as we're allowed, then we are back up north.
Yeah, it's changed a lot of things, but you roll with the punches, don't you?
So, to move on, I'm still recovering from eye surgery. And there has been improvements. Everything's still really blurry. Anyone who uses Photoshop will get this reference, but I've gone from probably a 29 pixel Gaussian blur, and I would say I'm now around a 20 pixel Gaussian blur. And it was doing to and fro bits, and at some stage it looked like it was improving, and then it seemed to go backwards, and I was like, no, don't panic. So whatever you do, do not panic. I can... As of this morning, as of recording, I woke up and there's a mirror in front of our bed on the wardrobe. And I could work out my shadow in a reflection in the mirror for the first time. I was like, ooh.
That's cool.
That's really good. And I'm sitting here at the computer, and for the first time I can see a blurry silhouette of my mic and a blurry silhouette of the monitor, and I've just knocked down my webcam because I was touching the monitor. So the vision's starting to come in, and my peripheral vision, if I move my hand almost to towards the back of my head, my fingers seem quite clear, still a bit blurry, but quite clear.
Yeah.
So it's healing from, the vision's coming back from obviously behind the eye towards the front.
Yeah.
So there's daily improvement, which is fantastic, because I did hit a point where I was going, oh crap, is this what my vision's going to be like from now on? Is it not going to improve beyond this? But no, it seems to be continuing to improve, which is really good. Still not enough to be able to like play a game or watch TV properly or anything like that. But still moving forward, which is just, yeah, thank God for that. I did get worried, but it is continuing to improve.
Great. Good news.
It is.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm hoping that the end of lockdown is nigh. Really looking forward to it. And in the meantime, for yourselves, if you want to just entertain yourself with our content, you can. There's plenty of it. Make sure you go to the website, follow us on Twitter, and look at our stuff on YouTube. If you want to contribute, as Brad said earlier on, we're actually revitalising the Patreon soon, but we are on Patreon if you want to submit some cash there. And also, you can drop us some cash on coffee. But otherwise, just take care of yourselves and have a good week until next time. Stay safe, stay sane, and goodbye.